why does a person choose silence and walk away while their heart still beats for the other? It is a complex defense mechanism of the human soul. This choice is not born from cowardice, but from a profound desire to preserve the beauty of what remains before the cracks become utterly irreparable and cold. We often find ourselves at a crossroads where staying means witnessing the slow decay of love, while leaving means keeping the memory of it forever whole. The silence of the one who leaves is a shield, protecting a precious past from a future that promises only friction, resentment, and the loss of self. Time becomes a heavy weight when you realize that the person you love is no longer the person you can stay with without losing your very essence. It is the paradox of the heart. Sometimes the ultimate act of love is to stop being a part of the story before the ending turns tragic. By choosing to walk away now, we are essentially freezing time, making sure that our last image of each other is one of love, not exhaustion. In the realm of psychology, this is the activation of the retreat, when the fear of future pain outweighs the flickering hope of a lasting union. Avoidant attachment styles often trigger a preemptive strike against heartbreak. We leave not because we don't care, but because we care too much to fail. When the mind detects signals of instability, it initiates a tactical withdrawal. It is a biological response to protect the ego from the coming storm. We choose to retreat. When the peak has been reached, fearing the inevitable descent, it is a desperate attempt to stay at the height of our happiness. The brain calculates the cost of staying versus the cost of leaving, and sometimes the silence of departure is the only currency left to spend. It is a predictive failure analysis of the heart. We see the collapse before it happens and decide to walk out while the walls are still standing. Without a clear direction for the future, the soul chooses the only path it can control, the path of exit, wrapped in a blanket of silence. Tightly, clinging to something that is destined to change can be more painful than letting it go completely. We choose the sudden sting over prolonged agony. Active withdrawal is a strategic move to ensure that the image of ourselves remains untainted by the bitterness that often follows a slow, painful breakup. We would rather be a missing chapter in their life than a story that they eventually wish they had never started reading in the first place. This is the art of leaving while the light is still bright enough to see the beauty before the darkness of resentment swallows everything we built. By leaving early, we prevent the fragmentation of our shared history. We keep the pieces together, even if they can no longer form a whole. Anticipatory grief is the mourning of a loss that hasn't happened yet. We are already crying for the end while we are still in the middle. It is the heaviest form of sorrow because it is solitary. You are grieving for a relationship that the other person believes is still alive and well. Our silence is the result of this internal funeral. We have already said our goodbyes in our minds, long before we ever reach for the door. These happy memories become sharp blades when you know they are the last ones you will ever create. We pack them away to keep them safe. There are words that will never be spoken because they would only break a heart that is already struggling to stay whole. Silence is a mercy. We delete the explanations because they wouldn't change the outcome. We accept the role of the villain to save the other person from the truth. Every second of silence is a brick in the wall we build to protect our peace. We are mourning the future we once thought we had. The internal storm is raging, yet the external expression is a calm mask. We are preparing for the impact of the finality we've chosen. We look at the connection we have and realize it is a bridge to nowhere. The grief starts the moment we decide to turn back. It is a quiet, lonely process of unloving. We are dismantling the house of our shared life, piece by piece, in the dead of night. By the time we actually leave, we have already walked 1,000 miles away in our hearts. The physical departure is just a formality of grief. What you see is a calm surface, but underneath there is a torrent of emotions being suppressed by the weight of a final decision. The hands betray the heart's true state. The composure is a lie, a necessary facade to carry out the hardest task of a lifetime. We are full to the brim with things we cannot say. To speak would be to overflow, to shatter the delicate peace we've curated. The questions of the other person haunt the silence. We have the answers, but we know they would only cause more wounds than the departure. Every flash of memory is a reminder of why we must go. The pain of leaving is a price we pay for their future happiness. Silence is the most honest thing we have left. It is a scream that has lost its voice, a storm that has run out of rain. We swallow our words because they are poison. To share them would be to contaminate the memory of what was once a beautiful love. The internal battle is exhausting. We are fighting ourselves to stay silent, to stay firm in a decision that breaks our own hearts into pieces. Our love is still there, vibrating with the same intensity as before, but the music has been muted by the necessity of the end. We are running away from a future we cannot face, choosing the exile of silence over the prison of a dying relationship. The silence is our final act of strength. It is the wall we build to ensure that when they look back, they see a clean break. We choose to stop the story at its most beautiful chapter. We refuse to let the ink run dry or the pages become tattered and torn. Leaving is the only way to keep that smile real in our minds. In reality, that smile would eventually fade into a look of disappointment. We are archivists of our own happiness. We lock the best versions of ourselves away so they can never be damaged by the passing time. Cutting ties is an act of preservation. By disappearing, we remain a mystery, a perfect memory that will never have to face the mundane. Love is often better preserved in the past tense. When it exists in the present, it is subject to the erosion of daily life and habit. We choose the version of you that we fell in love with, and we take that version with us into the silence of our new lives. The movie ends while the audience is still enthralled. We don't wait for the credits or the lights to come up on an empty theater. Everything in this world is transient. We just choose to acknowledge it sooner so that the beauty of what we had remains untarnished. The perfection of the void is better than the mess of a failing connection. We choose the silence of the museum over the noise. We preserve our love like a flower in a vacuum. It will never grow, but it will also never wilt or turn to dust. To stay is to watch the reflection distort and turn ugly. To leave is to remember the face as it was, clear and bright. These objects are the fossils of our joy. We leave them behind so they don't become reminders of the pain we eventually caused each other. The performance is over. To stay for an encore that isn't coming is a tragedy we are determined to avoid for both of us. Releasing the love while it is still buoyant is the only way to keep it from falling to the ground and being stepped on. We go toward the light of a new beginning, carrying the golden version of our past as a torch to guide us through the cold. Acceptance is the final stage of this silent journey. It is the realization that leaving was the kindest thing we could ever do. In the vastness of life, our story is just one wave. We let it wash over us, and then we let it return to the sea. The weight is lifted. The silence is no longer a burden, but a sanctuary where our love can live forever without being disturbed by reality. We leave no traces of the pain, only the quiet understanding that some things are meant to be cherished from a distance for the rest of time. To leave while still in love is a testament to the strength of that love. It is a sacrifice of the self for the sake of the memory. Silence is the last love letter I wrote for you. It contains everything I couldn't say and everything I wanted us to remain in each other's minds. We give each other the gift of a clean slate. We take the hurt so that you can keep the joy we once shared together. Everything returns to where it belongs. Our love belongs to a time that has passed, and we must honor that by not forcing it into the now. There is a dignity in this departure. It is a quiet revolution of the heart, choosing respect and peace over the noise of a slow collapse. Thank you for being the most beautiful part of my life. I leave you now so that you will always remain exactly that for me. Imbalance is not the end of everything. It is the beginning of a way to remember each other with grace, kindness, and eternal love. In the end, we choose to let the silence speak. For the love that was too big for words and too beautiful for a world of decay